Well guys, here today we're going to be talking about a stock that is up massively at the time of me filming this due to their most recent earnings report, and by what you're looking at on the screen right now, you can tell it's up massively. This stock is up over 600% at the time of me filming this since March. Over 600%. This stock was actually $11 back in March. $11. This stock right now at the time of me filming this is over $65 as you guys just saw, and this stock is Pinterest. Ticker symbol PINS. It actually really blows my mind how much this stock is up. Actually, one guy messaged me and he said that he bought Pinterest the morning of earnings without thinking he was gonna do this. He just happened to buy it because he liked the company. I'm like, hey man, good for you. I definitely wish I was as lucky as that guy. But guys, as always, before we get into the video, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up, that really helps me out in a huge way. I appreciate every single one of you that watch this video, and I also appreciate you even more if you hit that like button, because this does help put these videos out to more people. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Obviously, if you are already subscribed to the channel, you can already tell we're putting out more and more content every week. I have a little more free time now, like I've said before in previous videos, and I'm really excited to keep putting out 2 to 3 videos a week for you guys. So subscribe to the channel, don't forget to turn the notification bell on, and let's get right into it. Pinterest stock price soared as much as 30% after hours on Wednesday as the company posted strong revenue and user growth in third quarter earnings. The company said that it saw an increase in spend from advertisers that boycotted social media. Pinterest's strong user growth was fueled by the adoption of international users. The company's international monthly active users was 343 million, up 46% year over year. As for the numbers itself, adjusted earnings per share, 13 cents versus 3 cents expected. Revenue, 443 million versus 383.5 million expected. MAUs, 442 million versus 436.38 million expected, and average revenue per user, $1.03 versus 90 cents expected. Pinterest's strong user growth was fueled by the adoption of international users. The company's international MAUs was 343 million, up 46% year over year. The company said the release of iOS 14 also fueled user growth as approximately 4 million people used Pinterest for inspiration for customized background filters. Additionally, the company said it saw an increase in spending from advertisers that boycotted social media. That's a reference to the Stop Hate for Profit Facebook ad boycott, in which more than 1,000 advertisers paused ads onto social media during the month of July in boycott of the company's hate speech and misinformation policies. This echoes a similar uptick by Snap, which reported its third quarter earnings last week. Pinterest, however, warned that it is unclear how sustainable this trend will be. Keep that in mind, how unsustainable this trend will be. Now, as for the guidance that was provided in this article, the company also announced that it is expecting fourth quarter revenue to grow about 60% year over year. But Pinterest cautioned that it is continuing to navigate uncertainty given the pandemic. So keep in mind that Pinterest is a relatively new public company. It just went public about a year and a half ago in April of 2019. And at that time, that valuation was 10 billion when it IPO'd. This compares to some other stocks like Facebook, which is valued at 100 million during its IPO. Twitter was valued at 14 billion when it IPO'd, Snapchat 24 billion when it IPO'd. So we're gonna throw out the FB in that comparison, because if you guys know my opinion on Facebook, which I'm sure you do if you follow the channel, you know I think Facebook is an absolute monster, and the FB is the place to be at this point, if you know what I'm saying. So we'll throw that out. When you compare it to Twitter and Snapchat, it seems like a little more realistic comparison. As for the current market cap, the current market cap's at about 40 million. This company started in 2008 in Delaware, and we're gonna touch on the business model, but I'm sure a lot of you guys already know the business model of Pinterest. Even if you aren't overly familiar with the company and the management team, it's a social media platform. Pinterest is a visual discovery engine that people around the globe use to find the inspiration to create a life they love. We generate revenue by delivering ads on our website and mobile application. So it's similar to Facebook's business model. Companies pay Pinterest to post ads on their website. But you can also shop on Pinterest. If you want to search for, say, a shirt or something, you can go and search for that shirt and you can actually buy it. But it's actually directed to some sort of third-party type thing. It looks more of like an affiliate marketing setup scheme. So Pinterest, I'm sure, receives some sort of commission along those lines for whatever they sell on their website. More than ever before, people are coming to Pinterest to get inspiration for their lives. Everything from planning early for a socially distant Halloween to creating great homeschools for their kids, said Ben Silverman, CEO and co-founder of Pinterest. Our top priority is to continue making Pinterest home to the most inspiring and actionable content. This quarter, we launched a set of tools to empower creators to show and share their ideas with people who are ready to act. The strong momentum our business experienced in July continued throughout the rest of the third quarter. We're extremely pleased with the broad-based strength of our business, driven by recovering advertiser demand as well as positive returns from our investments in advertiser products and international expansion, said Todd Morganfield, CFO and head of business operations of Pinterest. Our mission is to bring everyone the inspiration inspiration to create a life they love. Pinterest is where 335 million people, this is old, this is from the 2019 10K, around the world to go get inspiration for their lives. They come to discover ideas for just about anything you can imagine. Daily actives like cooking dinner or deciding what to wear, major commitments like remodeling a house or training for a marathon, ongoing passions like fly fishing or fashion, and milestones events like planning a wedding or a dream vacation. We call these people pinners. We show them visual recommendations, which we call pins, based on their personal taste and interest. Then they save and organize these recommendations into collections called boards. Browsing and saving visual ideas on our service helps pinners imagine what their future could look like, which helps them go from inspiration to reality. Pinterest is the productivity tool for planning your dreams. Dreaming and productivity may seem like polar opposites, but on Pinterest, inspiration enables actions and dreams become reality. Visualizing the future helps bring it to life. In this way, Pinterest is unique. Most consumer internet companies are either tools, search or e-commerce, or media, newsfeed, video, social network. Pinterest is not a pure media channel, it's a media-rich utility. And that's what I kind of like about this company. I really like how it's kind of like a combination of something we're gonna get into in a little bit here. But I kind of like the overall idea that's going on right now. Keep in mind, the company did take a net loss of about 100 million in this previous quarter, so they are not a profitable company yet. The official number actually came in at 95 million, which is actually 24% decrease of net loss year over year. But the shocking number here, the really shocking number that really surprised me, was the adjusted EBITDA came in at 93 million, up 2,304% year over year. 2,304% year over year. And the adjusted EBITDA margin is up 20% year over year. 20% year over year. That is huge for this company. I am really shocked to be reading this right now. For reference, Facebook EBITDA was up 25% in the second quarter. I don't have the third quarter earnings, unfortunately, because they are coming out today at the time of me filming this after the market closed. So if you guys want to go check that out and compare for yourself, absolutely go ahead. You can let me know in the comments if you want to do that. Twitter actually saw a decline of 155% year over year of adjusted EBITDA margins in quarter two. Again, Twitter also releases earnings today. I don't have those numbers. Would love to let you know how they compare in the comments if you guys want to do that. Snapchat also saw a decline of 40% year over year in the second quarter. Absolutely shocking stat right here, guys. I am really shocked to be reading this. As for how the company increased year over year, let's look at the revenue, the monthly active users, and the average revenue per user that has been provided for us. Total revenue for the third quarter, as we mentioned, was 443 million, up 280 million year over year. That's a 58% increase. To break that down a little bit more, the total revenue included 374 million from the United States, which is up 251 million year over year, so a 49% increase. Keep that in mind, the United States brought in more. And then the remaining 69 million was from the international portion of the business, which they did say they wanted to focus more on. That is up 28 million or 145% year over year increase. So keep that in mind, the US brought in a lot more money than the international base. Keep that in mind as we get further into this here. Monthly active users, again, we mentioned before, 442 million total, up from 322 million last year over year. That's a 37% growth increase. Breaking down that 442 million a little bit more, 98 million came from the United States, okay? That's up from 87 million last year. That's a 13% growth increase. They did say they weren't going to focus as much on the United States monthly active users and more so the international. And here's what really surprised me when I started to first read about the Pinterest earnings. International monthly active users, 343 million. That's up from 235 million last year over year. That's a 46% growth increase. And at first, when I first read this, I'm like, oh, that's just because of the virus overseas. It's really bad over there. Places are shutting down. Like France is in like complete lockdown mode right now. Like, oh my God, I feel so bad for everyone over there. I really hope that does not happen in the States again, but I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. People aren't leaving their houses. It's exactly how it was back in March and April over here. I'm sure more people are also getting laid off. There's not a lot to do. People don't have anything to do but just scroll through their phones endlessly every day, day in and day out, you know what I mean? But then I looked at the numbers from 2019 and there was still a big gap in monthly active users from the United States compared to internationally. As I also said previously, that is what the management team wants to do. They want to expand the international market a little bit more. And that's what I gauged based on what the conference call said, also what the script said, and also what Scott Coleman, who's actually the head of the international expansion team at Pinterest, he also seems like he is really adamant about expanding that international market. Anyway, back on track here. Average revenue per user. Globally, $1.03 per share compared to 90 cents in 2019 for a 15% change. That's overall. Globally. For the United States, they saw $3.85 this quarter compared to $2.93 in 2019 for a 31% increase year over year. And here's something very interesting, all right? This is what I really don't understand and I really don't like how this looks. Pinterest wants to focus on international markets. Okay. The United States brought in $3.85 ARPU. Internationally, ARPU, 21 cents this quarter, which is up from 13 cents in 2019 year over year. So a 66% increase, which is good to see. But I find this so interesting, and I'm curious as to why the management team wants to focus on growing the international base when the US market seems like it's gonna be more profitable at the end. Like, look at the numbers right here. $3.85 ARPU compared to the 21 cents ARPU over international market. I just don't completely understand. I personally think this is actually a big mistake by the management team, putting a lot more efforts into the international markets, because it just seems like, based on these numbers they're providing with us, the US markets are gonna be so much more profitable. But hey, I'll do my job, they do theirs, we'll see what happens. That's just my opinion. Do your own research as always. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a random guy talking to a camera in my living room. Anyway, let's move on here and get a little bit into the balance sheet. Cash and cash equivalents, 650 million they currently have. Total current assets, 2 billion. Total assets, 2.3 billion. They do have their total current liabilities listed at 189 million. And for total liabilities and stockholders' equity, that is listed at 2.3 billion. And after the cost of revenue, which is 112 million, the company is broken down into three real main categories, being research and development, which is at 160 million, sales and marketing, which is at 118 million, and general administrative, which is at 148 million. So that makes up a total of 539 million in total cost and expenses. So like I said before, the company's not profitable yet. They're still taking losses. And remember, I did say they took almost a $100 million loss in this quarter despite these fantastic earnings that they put out. And in 2019, they took a net loss of 1.3 billion. Net, okay? Net. As Rowe said in the conference call, Ben Silberman, who, like I said before, is the CEO, he said they were focusing on, like I've also said before, the international portion, again, which is more specifically Western Europe. They also said they really want to focus on bringing in more inspirational content to Pinterest and making Pinterest ultimately overall more shoppable. And they plan to do this by improving the inventory of shoppable products and improving the discovery of these products as well. They also did say they expect these earnings and momentum they received in Q3 to keep going on into Q4, which I thought was really important. And he did mention that he credits the growth that they saw in Q3 mainly to advertising demand and the increase at more of an alarming rate, really, as well as they also had some short-term investments that were just really well and panned out for them. So after all this, am I gonna buy Pinterest based off of these earnings? And my answer is honestly no, but it's something I'm definitely gonna keep an eye on. There are a couple more things I'd like to look into this company before starting a position, even though if I did, it would probably be a pretty small position. But I do look at Pinterest kind of like some sort of combination between Facebook and Amazon, which is good and bad. The good thing about having a combination between Facebook and Amazon is obviously Facebook is just dominating the ad game. Like, if you're not putting ads on Facebook and you're putting it somewhere else, I don't even know what you're doing with your time and your money. Like, you gotta be on Facebook putting those ads on there. That is definitely the biggest player in that field, as well as Instagram. They got that going for them too. Facebook is just killing the game. And as well as Amazon, I mean, you know how Amazon's doing. You don't even need me to go into the detail. We're just gonna skip right over that, okay? Like, LOL, that's how Amazon's doing. But the bad thing about this is it's a combination between Facebook and Amazon. Facebook and Amazon are so dominant in their fields right now, I don't know if there's room for Pinterest to actually catch up and challenge them at all. I also have concerns about if this growth is sustainable once the world eventually does return to normal one day. And I know, all you guys watching this video, it just seems like it's been a lifetime this has been going on. I'm really sorry to say this, but one day the world, I promise you, will return to normal. You will be able to go to the grocery store without freaking out and having to go down aisles one way. You will be able to go back to work. I promise one day everything is going to return to the way it was in 2019 and we will go back to normal. But when this does happen, is Pinterest gonna be able to sustain this growth? I don't know. But in saying that, I would actually expect strong numbers in Q4 because unfortunately I don't see the world going back to normal in Q4. But when it does, how is Pinterest ultimately gonna respond? And another thing that's very important here is I don't use Pinterest. And actually 71% of the users on Pinterest are female. So I'm not sure exactly how Pinterest could diversify a little bit more and get some more males on the platform, but I am a little concerned about that right now if they want to be a major player in this field. You don't see the FB having 71% females. You don't see Amazon having 71% females. And if you look at the most popular social networks worldwide as of this month, October 2020, the FB is going full Derrick Henry. Like, he's dragging everyone down. He's got that stiff arm going like AJ Bouye, get out of my way. Let's ride, boys. Let's ride. That is what Facebook's doing right now. 4 of the top 6 platforms FB owns. Full Derrick Henry mode. AJ Bouye, take a seat. Basically, if you want to compete with the big dogs, you got to scout the big dogs, you know what I mean? And obviously, as I kind of touched upon a little bit before, I am a little concerned about them putting more focus on the international market. Imagine if they just flipped those numbers, like you just flipped the international users with the US users. They would have brought in a ton more money last quarter based on these ARPU numbers, and that is very clear. So bottom line, I am not going to be buying Pinterest right now, but I do plan on keep looking into it. I do plan on staying up to date with it. I do plan on putting it on my watch list. But in saying that, if I had to choose between Pinterest and the FB right now, give me the FB. Give me all the FB. I want all of the FB. I feel like Matthew Berry when I say that, when he's talking about one of the fantasy guys he wants you to play this week. Give me all of the FB. I want all of it. That was kind of weird. But anyway, I just think the FB is undervalued how it is right now, and I really hope we see a decline in the FB and it goes under 200, because I am going to completely load on the FB. I want to make that into a huge position of mine, and I'm super excited for it to dip a little bit if this current state of the market continues. Anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. Hope you guys have a great day. Let me know in the comments what you think of Pinterest, and I will see you guys in the next video.